Welcome to the next video in the how to build your own AI agent course. In the last video, we talked about ChatGPT and how it's a wrapper app around a large language model. We also talked about how large language models don't actually know information, particularly when it comes to real-time information. And then we talked about this little hack where if you just copy and paste the information into the system prompt, and then when you ask the AI the question, it will actually know the answer. And this fact, this little hack here, is sort of the basis on how AI agents work. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 ways to get your AI agent to actually do things. This forms the basis of tool calling, a very important concept within AI agents. So let's start with the first one that's most obvious, having your AI execute code. Let's return here, let's clear everything, and let's ask the AI, let's say you are a coding assistant, you generate Python code that looks correct. Then I'm going to say here, I want to backtest a trading strategy. If you say this and the system prompt is designed to actually generate code, then the AI will generate a message to generate code. Let's see what the AI actually outputs. Now, what you can do is take the code that the AI generated, copy, paste it into Cursor, and then you can execute that code and then forward the response back to the AI agent. That's one way you can have your AI actually do things. You can think of an example of having the AI call a stock market API, or having the AI just execute any code that you want the results of. That's one way of having your AI to actually do things. The second way of having your AI do things is not to generate code, but to generate inputs to API calls or generating JSON objects. The quickest, roughest definition of a JSON, it is simply a standardized format that allows you to communicate with other people's servers. You generate this JSON object that has these little curly braces, it has these param names, and if you send this between servers, then you can send a response. Now, in my system prompt, I'm telling the LLM to generate a JSON object for a trading strategy. I'm going to type in my strategy here, buy and hold SPY, and the AI is going to respond in a syntactically valid JSON object just like this. Now, you can imagine by itself, this doesn't do anything, but what if you had some function, some API that took a strategy as input and as output, it will return performance metrics, how that strategy performed between start date and end date. Now that you have this JSON object, you can just paste it right here. You can execute the code. The code will do something, and then it will give you back a response, which you can paste back into the language model. And this is what we call a tool. A tool is when you generate a configuration and then you execute some API call and get some sort of response back. Now, these tools are the key difference between a regular language model and an AI agent. They actually allow your AI to do things. You can, within the system prompt, you might want to tell it other tools it can have. You might want to define an interface for a backtest. You might want to define an interface for a deployment. You can define all of the tools here, and the language model will know how to create the right JSON object depending on what you want to do. To make this hit close to home, I'm going to show you a real world system prompt that I'm using for my production AI agent. You can see it has all of these instructions. I tell it to respond in JSON. I have this mode called force JSON mode. I have a schema and a bunch of instructions for the language model to follow. I also have a list of examples so the AI has something to sort of go off of. We can see that the AI is responding within this JSON object. You know, it has this SQL query, and if I copy paste this query and I remove all of the little new lines, let's copy paste it here. Let's erase these new lines. And if we execute the query, we see we get a real answer based on fact. This is simply a SQL query against the database. And this is just one of my prompts. When you ask this question, but under the hood, it's going to generate this query and also this graph. So if I ask this same exact question within NexusTrade, you can see what happens. While it's actually responding with this SQL, under the hood, what it's going to do is execute the query and then show the results to the user. You can see it's thinking, it's executing the query, and we can see the answer. It summarizes the answer for us, and then it presents these results in this nice, pretty looking graph, which you can also see in a table. But this here is basically the same thing as this here. I'm just executing different API calls in the backend. This is the critical thing that makes an AI agent an AI agent. The ability to execute tools to actually accomplish some sort of task. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about orchestration and how we can go from this, a simple back and forth conversation between an AI, to a fully autonomous or semi-autonomous AI agent that can actually do things on your behalf. This might be the most important video so far, so tune in right now.